Hello viewers, in our previous lesson we studied about arbitration agreement. Today we are going to discuss the topic reference to arbitration, appointment, termination and substitution of arbitrator. The objectives of this lesson are to discuss the different ways to refer a dispute to arbitration, to understand the procedure for appointment of arbitrator in India, to study the grounds under which an arbitrator can be challenged, to understand the circumstances in which the mandate of the arbitrator is terminated, and also about substitution of arbitrator. The law permits to refer a dispute to arbitration. The reference may be made in three ways, that is, firstly by parties mutually, secondly by court under section 89 of CPC, and thirdly by court under section 8 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Reference to arbitration with mutual consent of parties. In the presence of an arbitration agreement, if a dispute has arisen between the parties to a contract, one of the parties would request the other party for appointment of arbitrator. In case the other party responds positively to the request, both of them mutually appoint an arbitrator for conducting the arbitral proceedings. This is called reference with mutual consent of parties. Reference to arbitration under section 89 of CPC. The section 89 of CPC provides for court referred ADR that includes arbitration. This provision shall be interpreted in conformity with the judgment of Supreme Court in Afcons Infrastructure case. In a contested case, after the pleadings are completed and before framing of the issues, the court should identify whether the case is fit for reference to any ADR process. Even though there was no pre-existing arbitration agreement, the parties to the suit can agree for arbitration when the choice of arbitration is offered to them by the court under section 89 CPC. Then the parties shall file a joint memo or joint application or a joint affidavit before the court agreeing for reference to arbitration. After the parties agreed in writing, the matter shall be referred to arbitration. The provisions of Arbitration and Conciliation Act will apply to the arbitration. The case would go outside the stream of the court permanently and does not come back to the court. Reference to arbitration under section 8 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Sometimes a party may file a case before the judicial authority even though an arbitration agreement exists between the parties. In such a case, the other party to the dispute can apply to the judicial authority seeking reference of the matter to arbitration under section 8 of the Act. However, the application seeking reference shall be made by the other party before submitting his first statement in the case. It is important to note that here the term judicial authority includes court as defined under section 2 subclause 1 subclause E of the Act, as well as other adjudicatory bodies like consumer forum, small causes court, etc. The Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2015 lays down that not only parties to arbitration agreement, but any person claiming through or under them who is a non-signatory to the arbitration agreement can also seek reference of the dispute to arbitration under section 8. Generally, the application for reference shall be accompanied by the original or a certified copy of the arbitration agreement. But as per the amendment of 2015, if the original or certified copy of the arbitration agreement is not available and it is in possession of the adverse party, then the party seeking reference to arbitration shall make the application along with a petition praying the court to call upon the other party to produce the original deed of arbitration agreement or its duly certified copy before the court. The amendment also provides that the court should take a prima facie view as to the existence of a valid arbitration agreement. Further, the reference to arbitration has to be made notwithstanding any judgment, decree or order of the Supreme Court or any court. Here, the Amendment Act 2015 has impliedly departed from the rulings in various decisions such as N. Radhakrishnan versus Maestro Engineers 2010 1 SEC 72, Booz Allen and Hamilton Inc. versus SBI and Home Finance Limited 2011 5 SEC 532 and Sukanya Holdings Private Limited versus Jayesh H. Pandya 2003 5 SEC 531, in which the court dealt with matters relating to arbitrability in an application under Section 8. However, it is very difficult to speculate the view of the courts in future cases on this issue. If the court refers the parties to arbitration after deciding the application under Section 8, the parties should proceed with arbitration and there would be no appeal against such order. In case of refusal by the court to refer to arbitration, the aggrieved party may prefer appeal to superior court by way of Section 37 subclause 2 of the Act. Further, even though the application for reference is pending before the court, arbitration may be commenced or continued and an arbitral award may be delivered. Appointment of arbitrator. Viewers, after the reference of dispute to arbitration, the first step would be the appointment of arbitrator. Now, let us discuss the procedure for appointment of arbitrator. As per Section 10 of the Act, the parties are free to determine the number of arbitrators, provided that such number shall not be an even number. If the parties fail to determine the number of arbitrators, then the tribunal shall consist of a sole arbitrator. However, Supreme Court in Narayan Prasad Lohia versus Nikunj Kumar Lohia and others 2002 3 SEC 572 held that where the parties appointed two arbitrators, it does not mean that the agreement itself becomes invalid. According to the court, if two arbitrators give a concurrent award, there would be no frustration of the proceedings and their award would prevail. However, any party could make an objection before the arbitral tribunal within the prescribed time, failing which the right to objection would be deemed to be relinquished. Appointment of arbitrators by the parties. The Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 under Section 11 provides the procedure for constitution of the arbitral tribunal by appointment of arbitrators. The Section 11(1) provides that the parties can appoint a person of any nationality as an arbitrator. The parties are free to agree on a procedure for appointment of arbitrator or arbitrators under Section 11(2). Section 11(3) states that in absence of any agreement in arbitration with three arbitrators, each party could appoint one arbitrator and the two arbitrators so appointed could appoint the third arbitrator who would act as the presiding arbitrator. The parties are at full liberty to agree upon the qualifications, eligibility criteria, nationality, etc. of the arbitrators. It is important to note that since arbitration agreement is a contract, the arbitrator shall be a person competent to enter into a contract governed by the Indian Contract Act 1872. That is to say, arbitrator cannot be a minor, person of unsound mind, an alien enemy, convict, adjudged insolvent, etc. When a dispute has arisen, a party to an arbitration agreement requests the other party for appointment of arbitrator as per the arbitration agreement. The communication of such request is governed by section 3 of the Act. According to section 3, the written request shall be delivered to the addressee personally or at his place of business, habitual residence or mailing address. In case none of the above places can be found after making a reasonable enquiry, the request may be sent to the last known address, as the case may be through registered letter or any procedure permitted under law. If both the parties agree for the appointment of arbitrator, then the arbitral tribunal is constituted by such arbitrator and the proceedings would be commenced. Appointment of arbitrator by court. Viewers, where parties themselves are unable to agree upon the appointment of arbitrator, the arbitrator would be appointed by court as per the procedure laid down under section 11 subclause 4 to section 11 subclause 14 of the Act. In case of appointment of 3 arbitrators, if party fails to appoint a arbitrator within 30 days from the receipt of request from the other party, or if the 2 appointed arbitrators fail to agree on the third arbitrator within 30 days of their appointment. In case of a sole arbitrator, if the parties fail to agree on the arbitrator within 30 days from the receipt of a request for appointment, or if a party or the 2 appointed arbitrators fail to act as required under the agreed appointment procedure, then upon request of a party, the appointment of arbitrator shall be made by the Supreme Court in case of an international commercial arbitration, or by the High Court in case of domestic arbitration. This power of appointment can also be delegated by the court to any person or an institution. Further, as per section 11 subclause 8, before appointing an arbitrator, the Supreme Court or High Court shall seek a disclosure in writing from the prospective arbitrator in terms of section 12 subclause 1, and shall also have due regard to any qualifications specified for the arbitrator by the agreement, and also to other considerations as are likely to secure the appointment of an independent and impartial arbitrator. According to section 12 subclause 1, when a person is approached in connection with his appointment as arbitrator, he shall make a disclosure in the form specified in the 6th schedule, listing out past or present relationship with or interest in any of the parties, or in relation to the subject matter in dispute, whether financial, business, professional or other kind, which is likely to give rise to justifiable doubts as to his independence or impartiality, and any circumstances which are likely to affect his ability to devote sufficient time to arbitration, and in particular his ability to complete the arbitration within period of 12 months. The ground stated in 5th schedule shall guide in determining whether such circumstances exist. Further, as per section 12 subclause 2, from the time of his appointment and throughout the arbitral proceedings, the arbitrator shall disclose to the parties if any of the above circumstances arise without any delay. Here it is also pertinent to note that as per section 12 subclause 5, any person whose relationship with the parties or counsel or the subject matter of the dispute falls under any of the categories specified in the 7th schedule of the Act shall be ineligible to be appointed as arbitrator. However, subsequent to arising of the dispute, the parties may waive the applicability of this provision by an express agreement in writing. The decision of appointment of arbitrator by the court shall be final, and no appeal, including letters patent appeal, shall lie against it. It is pertinent to note that where more than one request for appointment of arbitrator has been made by the parties in different high courts, then the court to which the first request has been made shall alone be competent to decide on the request. Prior to amendment of 2015, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court or High Court or their designate had the power of appointment of arbitrator. This led to a controversy that whether the function of Chief Justice is an administrative function or a judicial function. In the landmark decision of SBP and Company versus Patel Engineering Limited 2005 8 SEC 618, it was contended that since section 11 specifically vests the power of appointment of arbitrator on the Chief Justice and not on the court itself, the function was an administrative function. But the court rejected this argument and finally held that the appointment of arbitrator was a judicial function. Now, this controversy has been removed by way of amendment of 2015 by using Supreme Court or High Court in the place of Chief Justice. In the Patel Engineering case, the Supreme Court had conferred wide powers on the Chief Justice to decide on the existence of a valid arbitration agreement, the existence of a claim, the qualifications of arbitrator or arbitrators, etc. Now, the amendment of 2015 by way of section 6A has confined this power only to examine the existence of the arbitration agreement. As such, the arbitral tribunal would have jurisdiction to decide the other issues under section 16 of the Arbitration Act. In Patel Engineering case, it was further held that Chief Justice can delegate his power under section 11 only to another judge of that court, as it is a delegation of judicial power. But now, under section 6B, this position has changed and it is laid down that such designation of any person by Supreme Court or the High Court shall not be regarded as a delegation of judicial power. This enables the court to appoint institutions or expert bodies to appoint arbitrators. The section 11 subclause 13 has also been inserted by way of amendment of 2015, which states that the Supreme Court or High Court shall endeavour to dispose of the application for appointment of arbitrator within a period of 60 days. The section 11 subclause 14 states that the High Court may frame rules for the purpose of determination of fee and manner of its payment to the tribunal after taking into consideration the rate specified in the 4th schedule of the Act. The section 11A confers power on the central government and provides procedure for amending the 4th schedule. However, this provision relating to fees would not be applicable to international commercial arbitration and institutional arbitration. Challenge of arbitrator. Viewers, even after the appointment of arbitrator, the parties have the right to challenge and terminate the arbitrator. The duties of independence and impartiality are inherent and vital for the arbitrator. These include a personal obligation of impartiality, to be free of subjective biases, predispositions or affinities that interfere with deciding the dispute, and an objective obligation of independence, which requires the arbitrator to be free of personal, contractual, institutional or other relationships which would compromise his independence. Further, the arbitrator has an obligation to make disclosures to the parties regarding possible conflict of interest which may be present or which may arise in future. The arbitrator must carry on his duties with integrity and fair play. When the parties have any doubts regarding the independence or impartiality of an arbitrator, they can challenge the arbitrator under section 12 read with section 13 of the Act. According to section 12 subclause 3 of the Act, an arbitrator may be challenged under two situations. Firstly, if circumstances exist that give rise to the justifiable doubts as to his independence or impartiality, and secondly, if he does not possess the qualifications agreed to by the parties. However, there must be reasonable evidence to satisfy that there was a real likelihood of bias. Mere vague suspicions of whimsical, capricious and unreasonable nature cannot be an excuse for apprehending bias in the mind of the chosen arbitrator. Further, a party may challenge an arbitrator appointed by him or in whose appointment he has participated only for reasons which he becomes aware after the appointment has been made. Now, let us look at the procedure for challenge. The parties are free to agree on a procedure for challenge of an arbitrator. If there is no agreed procedure, the party who intends to challenge an arbitrator shall send a written statement of the reasons for challenge to the arbitrary tribunal within a period of 15 days after becoming aware of the constitution of the arbitral tribunal or after becoming aware of any circumstances referred in section 12 subclause 3 of the Act. Once a challenge is made, the arbitrator may withdraw from his office or may prefer to continue. If the other party agrees to the challenge, the proceedings will come to an end and the arbitrator would be terminated. But if the other party does not agree or the arbitrator does not withdraw, the arbitral tribunal shall decide on the challenge. If the challenge is successful, the arbitrator would be terminated, and if it is unsuccessful, the arbitral tribunal shall continue the proceedings and make an arbitral award. However, in such a case, the party challenging the arbitrator has an option to make an application for setting aside of the award in accordance with section 34 of the Act, and if the award is set aside, the court may decide on whether the arbitrator who was challenged is entitled to any fees or not. Termination and substitution of arbitrator. It must be understood that the termination of mandate of arbitrator is different from termination of mandate of arbitral tribunal. The mandate of arbitral tribunal terminates only with the termination of arbitral proceedings, that is to say, upon passing of final arbitral award or by order of arbitral tribunal itself, or when the claimant withdraws his claim, or the parties agree on the termination of the proceedings, or the arbitral tribunal finds that the continuation of the proceedings has become unnecessary or impossible. Therefore, even if the mandate of arbitrator terminates, the mandate of arbitral tribunal continues and the proceedings shall continue with the substitute arbitrator. As per section 14 and 15 of the Act, the mandate of arbitrator terminates in the following circumstances: if he becomes de jure or de facto unable to perform his functions, or if he fails to act without undue delay, or if he withdraws from his office, or if the parties agree to the termination of his mandate. Apart from this, the mandate of arbitrator automatically terminates upon his death. Here, the de jure inability refers to arbitrator's legal incapacity to perform his functions due to bankruptcy, conviction of a criminal offence, etc. The de facto inability refers to physical inability to perform his functions like continuous ill health. Where there is a controversy regarding the termination of mandate of arbitrator, a party may apply to the court to decide on the issue under section 14 subclause 2 of the Act. It is important to note that if the arbitrator withdraws from his office or a party agrees for the termination of mandate of arbitrator, it shall not mean that the arbitrator has accepted the validity of the ground on which he was challenged. In case the arbitrator is terminated, he shall be substituted by a new arbitrator. Any previous hearings may be repeated at the discretion of the arbitral tribunal if the parties do not have any objection. Further, any ruling of arbitral tribunal shall not be invalid only because the arbitrator has been changed. Viewers, from this lesson we have gained insights on reference to arbitration, appointment, termination and substitution of arbitrator. We have also discussed some judicial precedents in relation to this subject, along with recent developments in arbitration law. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.